DG, react to Ashes of Creation saying that they developed dynamic server meshing. React to a video showing what the hell's going on. DG, did you see this about Ashes of Creation with dynamic server meshing? Hey, DG. In fact, this was even the best part. Like I was looking at look at this DG section, and one of you guys had posted a video on Ashes of Creation, and it was Salty Mike. Who's this other guy? This other guy is pretty popular. He's got like 50,000 subscribers, and he's like the Ashes of Creation guy. And he's talking with Salty Mike. And it says, exposing Ashes of Creation with scam expert Salty Mike. I didn't realize that Salty Mike was the scam expert, but apparently this narc guy that's been covering Ashes of Creation thinks that because he talks with a scam expert, Salty Mike, that they have all of the answers that you would need about Ashes of Creation. Now, myself, and I have not really followed Ashes of Creation. So, you know, not so knowledgeable on the topic. I don't know how much Mike knows about the game itself, but I wanted to watch Asmongold, master of all gaming, master of all entertainment, just a master baiter, if you will. And I want to see what he says while watching this news about dynamic server meshing hitting Ashes of Creation. Let's watch.
This is apparently like a really, really big update for Ashes of Creation. They've been doing server meshing, and this is something that we saw a version of it with Star Citizen, but now you've got an even bigger version right here. Let's take a look.
An even bigger version is frankly bullshit. Okay, now regardless, okay, I understand. I don't know a lot about Ashes of Creation, so I don't know the scale. That's a biased answer, or that's a biased opinion. I get that. I don't know the scale or the size. I don't know how much land or how much area Ashes of Creation is going to contain, or the amount of people that will be on the servers experiencing the same things at the same time. But let's keep going. I would imagine a space game would cover more area than a land-based game, but let's keep going. And I also heard that the creators of Ashes of Creation is saying they thought of dynamic server meshing first, and in the concepts of which Cloud Imperium's working on it. And I think Cloud Imperium actually were the first to approach dynamic server meshing in such a way before Ashes of Creation. Not making it a contest, but just, you know, fact checking.
Hey, what up, boys? So today was a rather unexpectedly poggy stream, as we were treated not only to an incredibly detailed showcase of their server tech systems, allowing for a next generation, massively multiplayer open world, but we also got an announcement of Alpha 1 key holders finally getting into the game to test this exciting new tech. But before we get into that, our beautiful patrons and coped out the wazoo Twitch subs and I would love for you to grab yourself a Kilpa Kyola, because Alpha 2 is approaching fast, my friends, and oh boy, I am super excited to finally get into this game in a few weeks. But enough about that. We can talk about that in later videos, because
which still means it's an alpha, by the way, you know. Which also, by the way, Star Citizen also still an alpha. Let's be real about this. It's gonna take as long as it needs to take. This fucking like jumping up and down, having to go to the fucking bathroom, kind of like people are just like, come on, gotta go. It's like fucking ridiculous. First, I'm not too sure about Ashes of Creation, but I think they're fan funded as well. There are no publishers putting a timeline on either game if in fact Ashes of Creation is fan funded. Okay, I know Star Citizen is fan funded. There's no time limit. That's why they wanted it fan funded. Essentially, we are the publishers. So I say this a lot lately. I've been saying this for the past couple weeks. For people that are so antsy and want shit done, the best way to impose being a publisher onto the developers is to not put any money into the project. The second the money starts to drain and the revenues start to drain, that picks up the pace of the production. That's how you get your game faster. Here are the magic ingredients. A, take your money from your wallet and then put it back in your wallet. And I was saying this last night. It seems like the people that are most upset are still spending money. Like, what is that about? Some self-abuse, man. Like, it seems like the people that are most angry are still spending money. It seems very common sense to me that if you're upset about the length of time that these titles are taking, that you stop spending your fucking money if you want it to go faster. You know, am I under this kind of influence where, like, I'm worried about the time that it's taken for Star Citizen? No. I understand the scale. I understand what they're trying to do. Thank you.
Next time it's gonna be glass.
I believe Nikki is rewarding me for being rational. She is a manager in real life, and she has basically said, DG, that is a correct statement. And from a manager, goddamn right, that means something. Thank you, Nikki. Making all my opinions valid. Thank you so much, Nikki.
Because today we've got a copium-filled live stream to go through. Now,
all right,
with all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin.
Mad Style says Ash has received $3 million in pledges from their Kickstarter campaign in 2017. Is that it? How much have they collected total? What's the total, Mad Style? You got the numbers total for Ash's Creation? Are they strictly fan funded, by the way? These are things I should probably look into, but I would like to know if you guys know the answers live or if you're watching on YouTube. Is this all strictly fan funded, or is this like a mix of fans, and are they going with a publisher? I'm not quite sure because I haven't been following Ashes of Creation. Here and there I've watched an Ashes of Creation video, but I don't know the specifics.
Oh,
I can't imagine it's only 3 million.
A breakdown by the dented
okay, so as stated in the intro, this live stream was very technical, but I will attempt to break down this over 2-hour showcase into a nice, neat, tidy package for you to digest. Obviously, server meshing is our topic this month, and Intrepid went into a lot of depth about how they're...
So there's going to be one realm for the entire game. Thank fucking God. That is actually a best case scenario. Straight up. It's not going to work? Yeah, but I'm glad people are trying it, even if it doesn't work.
There we go. There we go. And that's the same reason I'm happy that for Star Citizen. At least there's people trying to do this, right? I just don't think, like, this in scope is nearly the scope of Star Citizen. One realm. I mean, like, on one planet. It's not even a whole planet, probably. Like scope is minuscule compared to Star Citizen, for God's sake.
I'm glad it's being tried.
I mean, if you're trying dynamic server meshing on an area this big, that's, I don't know. I mean, it's cool if you can all have the same experiences, even in the realm. Not trying to diss Ashes of Creation. I think that's great. But in terms of, like, the actual traffic and the amount of people that you can hold in a space, I'd imagine that actual space itself is more space. Because it's actually in the name, space. So, you know, that's how I got that. That's how I've alluded to that conclusion.
So, yeah, there goes the FPS. I mean, fuck. I'm so happy to see this.
Tech works and what goes on behind the scenes, as most companies do not reveal such important back-end information. If you're not very tech savvy or genuinely don't care, hey, listen, I don't blame you, because even I had a hard time wrapping my head around this one. The TLDR was basically broken into 3 segments. An introduction to what networking tech actually is for an MMORPG, the problems modern MMOs tend to have when trying to render a massively amount of players, and Intrepid's next next generation solutions to such problems. We'll of course skip over the first two segments and jump straight into Intrepid's solutions. Server gridding is the name of their server meshing technology, and Ashes of Creation's Intrepid Tech, as they've dubbed it, has a
which doesn't make it dynamic because it's actually not changing sizes to accommodate the population in the server. So dynamic server meshing actually codes itself to areas where, say you have an area where there's a lot of population, a lot of gamers coming into a space for a war, right? The server itself changes the amount of size to handle the additional population. So it's constantly changing. So the amount of area is continually changing based upon the code of the networking engineers. And they're like, okay, so now we need to expand the amount that the server can handle. Or it will decide like maybe that's going to split it up into quadrants, but it does it on the fly and is doing it. Whereas this sounds like almost static, but I do see dynamic gridding. So let's keep watching.
approach the problems differently to current.
I wonder if they're going to have layers. You know, like how in WoW you can be on the same place as somebody else, but you're on a different layer so you don't see them?
No, there won't. It will be all in one realm, Asmongold. It'll.
So there's going to be no layers,
right?
No servers. Everybody is in the same fucking.
No. There will be multiple servers accommodating it, and if it is truly dynamic, then they will change sizes based upon population, the amount that they can hold here. I'm surprised Asmon doesn't know this.
Place at the same time, I'll believe that shit when I see it, and I want to.
Well, yeah. I mean, like we all want that, and we all are saying that we'll believe it when we see it, you know. But we saw it. Actually, he saw it. The interesting thing is, like, This kind of drives me crazy about content creators. And, you know, I'm not trying to throw shade on Asmon. I love Asmon, but he actually saw it. He saw it work on the CitizenCon presentation. So, like, you should believe it because we already saw it. Like that, like I okay, this shit kind of bugs me, you know.
Fucking see it. I want to see it so fucking much.
Saw it.
I want to see it. But we're going to have to find out.
Server meshing technology like Star Citizen. As we discussed in our videos leading up to this stream, Star Citizen uses a replication layer to keep the persistence between a server transfer. However, this has been entirely removed in Ashes of Creation, and they have instead replaced it with a completely different approach that I won't get into the details because, let's be honest, it's a bunch of bullshit that we don't really care about. Just trust me, bro, it works, is pretty much the gist.
No, this is what's wrong with these fucking content creators, man. Okay, next slide. He's not even fucking explaining this shit to you, man. What kind of fucking content is this? Oh, fuck.
Unfortunately, the lack of a replication layer also creates a problem. Without a replication layer, one server cannot communicate to another server on the other side of the world. Therefore, Intrepid have created a brand new concept known as microservices, which can be visualized like additional servers floating above the standard ones that communicate all the information to one another. And now we get on to the final solution, solving the large numbers of players coming together in one location dynamically. Dynamic server meshing, the problem Star Citizen has been stuck on for many, many years, sinking. This is the problem that's holding back MMOs generally.
You know, I'm looking up Intrepid Networks, by the way. It's this LLC out of Florida. Here's the website. And it's an LLC based in Florida. It looks like a basic kind of communications. But like I was checking it out here. I typed this guy in here. It is an LLC, which is interesting. And then this is their this is their YouTube channel. Has 79 subscribers. This is who Ashes of Creation are using. Okay.
I think that people love the idea of an MMO, but they hate the idea of an MMO where
I'm hoping it's a different one. I'm literally hoping it's a different one. I hope I'm wrong here. I really hope I'm wrong.
there are different servers. I actually think that New World, one of the big reasons why that game died is because of servers.
Also creates a problem. Without a replication layer,
IntrepidNet. Let me type that up. Hold on. Not finding anything under IntrepidNet. Yeah. Nothing under IntrepidNet at all popping up here, which is even more concerning. Intrepid Networks does pop up down lower. No IntrepidNet above. Now this is searching on Google. Yeah, I mean the only thing that looks like it could be is Intrepid Networks. You know, again, this is just on the fly kind of researching this shit, but you know, okay.
one server cannot communicate to another server on the other side of the world.
Okay.
Therefore, Intrepid have created a brand new concept known as microservices, which can be visualized like additional servers floating above the standard ones that communicate all the information to one another. And now we get on to the final solution, solving the large numbers of players coming together in one location dynamically.
Here we go. Good job, Dr. Aether. I knew I could lie. I knew I could rely on you. Let's see here. IntrepidNet. This is through the Ashes of Creation wiki. IntrepidNet is the custom networking backend developed by Intrepid Studios. Okay, great. That enables large-scale open-world battles such as sieges and wars in Ashes of Creation. Okay. All right. Intrepid Studios. Intrepid Studios is a San Diego-based game studio working on... Okay, so it's just a division. Okay. Who are they using, though, for their service, for server services? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. All right, I'm getting sidetracked. Let me look at this while we keep watching the video.
Dynamic server meshing. The problem Star Citizen has been stuck on for many, many years, syncing.
This is the problem that's holding back MMOs generally. I think that people love the idea of an MMO, but they hate the idea of an MMO where there are different servers. I actually think that New World, one of the big reasons why that game died is because of servers. I think that WoW also died a lot and lost a lot of players because of servers. Servers should never be a limitation, and there's never an advantage to having a server that like actually exists to a player. It's simply a technological limitation.
Hundreds of millions of dollars into it, and they still have yet to solve it. Ashes of Creation are approaching this in a slightly different way again, through the concept that they call dynamic gridding. Without going too in-depth, it is basically just splitting the already static server grid into additional smaller servers within the same grid. And the most interesting part about this is that it isn't 5 years away either. The team are aiming to have this dynamic gridding ready and live for the Alpha 2 launch, just a couple of months away.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I was muted. This is turning into a train wreck of a fucking enhancement. My apologies. I'm looking at IntrepidNet, and it's the technology itself, the dynamic server mesh developed the coding through Intrepid. They're calling it IntrepidNet. Intrepid is the name of the company or the developers developing Ashes of Creation, and they're calling their dynamic server mesh IntrepidNet to I guess, you know, trademark the shit that they're working on. But I'm wondering about the actual servers. Who's servicing? Are all the servers based in-house? Like, if they're doing this all in-house and their own, they're basically doing this from their own servers, that's kind of like suicide, and they're going to be very limited. It looks like they're basing it in-house. Like they're not getting like AWS, or they're not getting involved with AWS, Amazon Web Services. They're not contracting this out to. They're not going to be able to scale this up. Which if I mean, from what I'm researching, I could be wrong on this, but if IntrepidNet, which is what they're calling this technology, their dynamic server mesh is called IntrepidNet, and if Intrepid is basing all of their server services through in-house, that's already kind of scaled down. You know, like, you're already kind of working from a limited position unless you're contracting the services out. I don't know. Just looking this up as we go here.
I'll believe it when I see it. I want to see it.
Intrepid currently have a plan on how to accomplish dynamic gridding, or is it just we want it but don't know how?
Right now, dynamic gridding is in place. Right now, what we are doing is we are optimizing, fixing performance around that, and the current goal, which is on target, is that dynamic gridding will be online by the start of Alpha 2. All of our tech was built to get to the point where we can do dynamic gridding. This has always been the end goal overall. So dynamic gridding is still in active development right now, but
I bet they probably can do this because Blizzard does this with like the way that they do servers. Like Blizzard servers.
So the grid will adjust appropriations to sizing, but the actual boundaries of the server aren't dynamic at all in terms of being able to literally be at scale wherever you need it at any point in time and accommodate to the player base. So the grid itself probably expands and contracts based upon the area. So it would be like, imagine like a grid that expands and contracts. That's how I'm imagining this being what they're calling dynamic server meshing. I don't know if this is what I would call dynamic server meshing. I would call it dynamic server gridding to be a little bit more correct, if in fact this is the way that I'm imagining it to be. So far, this has been a crazy amount of getting slapped in the face, learning as I go here. So you're sorry about this for those that are watching that are way into Ashes of Creation and know a lot more about this project than I do. But this is what I do when I first start to get involved with any new title, is like I'll go through the paces and I'll try and think out like how actually the technology is being applied and what they're talking about as they're talking about it. And I go through the paces and I research it till I fucking got it. And usually when I'm talking, it sounds like it knows what the fuck, I know what the fuck I'm talking about because I do, but you're actually seeing me going through the process that I went through 10 plus years ago with Star Citizen. In fact, the funny thing is you're seeing me go through the process that I go through on any new information. When Cloud Imperium hits new info, I talk this shit through and then I read about it and I learn, and then I go, boom, here you go. Here's the fucking data dump on everything that I picked up. So you're actually going through the fucking process with me as we go here. So I know there's a lot of Ashes of Creations people watching that are really pissed off by me. Mea culpa. I'm learning as I go here. So like, this is how I would imagine when they're talking about dynamic server meshing. It's not really in the terms of the servers being able to through networking code, being able to scale however needed based upon actual gamer population. So like in Star Citizen, dynamic server meshing is actually thought out to be where like, boom, you get like a huge war going on where you got a concentration of hundreds of players, and then the servers go and they scale the servers to the best ratio needed in terms of the scaling, whether it's a one large scale or perhaps they put it in quadrants, right? And that mesh then takes care of people passing through the servers, the code, all the fucking code, all the data streaming through those is always adjusted, always being the algorithm continually is adapting to the player base. This here, what I'm imagining is, again, I think it's more like a grid. They're called, they talked about the grid. So I would imagine that instead of it being able to scale and go pretty much anywhere, it's limited to a fixed grid that expands and contracts. Again, I wouldn't necessarily call this dynamic server meshing.
Are bad, but like the fundamental of like changing servers and like, phasing to different places, it seems really easy. Or not really easy, but it seems really like that they're doing it very well, right?
The plan is that by Alpha 2 entrance criteria,
like Diva says, jokes aside though, I am glad someone else is also doing this, so future MMOs will get better and tech like this will be easily accessible. Yeah, just imagine though, Diva, I would say imagine a Ferrari next to a Ford, right? I would say like the way they're thinking about it and going about it. And again, they're probably limited on funds, and they got to attack this the best way they can attack it. They're giving us a Ford, right? Like a Ford truck. Okay. Whereas like what Cloud Imperium is doing is like a Ferrari. I think that's an analogy I should draw for people so you guys understand the distinction. They're essentially doing or trying to do the same thing, but in different ways. This way seems to be like an easier way in terms of how it's thought out, where you got like a grid that's expanding. Again, I could be completely wrong about this. This is just me working this out with you guys right now. I could be completely wrong about this. This is real time. Me talking about this thing, but this is where I'm at as we're going through this right now. So, again, take it as you will.
We will have dynamic gridding in a bug sturdy place that is optimized and working as we need it.
Now, the rest of the presentation was just kind of yapping about tick rates and other bullshit, so I won't go too deeply into it, as it's pretty
No, we need to go deeply into it. This is the weirdest thing about content creators, that they don't want to risk themselves just talking these ideas through with their audience. I think that's a horrible thing to do. Again, no, I'm not trying to throw shade on this guy. The guy who Asmongold's watching, I can't remember the guy's name. He's like an Ashes of Creations content creator. But take the risk to go out and talk it through with your audience. I think it's important that you actually take the time to explain things to people, even if at the expense of if you think it's boring. Because it's important to talk about like what's under the hood. It's important to make these distinctions. Even with Asmongold saying, I'll believe it when I see it. The funniest thing is he saw it already. He saw a version of dynamic server meshing at CitizenCon. So I just wanted you guys, as we watch this, to understand certain things that are happening so that you can kind of keep pace on the development. Okay.
For the general audience. What I recommend though, if you are interested in this next generation tech, is to watch the full 1 hour and 20-minute presentation, because obviously a balding middle-aged man cannot do Intrepid's work justice in just a single 10-minute video. Therefore,
I don't really understand a lot of the server tech. I can understand a philosophy of it, but I don't know the details. This is nuts though.
We'll be following this brief breakdown into a much more in-depth video later this month, so I'd appreciate your support trying to...
Absolutely, Limitless. I love you, dude. Limitless says, when you assume everyone knows the facts, it is impossible for your audience to fully comprehend what you are saying. Yes, and some of the things I'm talking about in terms of networking, even in terms of the way these server meshes operate, in terms of the dynamic grid that I think that the developers at what is this team called? Intrepid? I forget the name already of the developers. I could be incorrect in terms of how I'm thinking about their dynamic server meshing grid. I could be completely wrong about this. I'm just talking it through. So like, I want people to understand watching me as well that yes, I could be wrong about this. Now, in terms of the dynamic server meshing with Star Citizen, I am correct. Okay. In terms of what's going on with Ashes of Creation, have really like this limited version of content that's not giving me the facts, number one, which I think is not helpful. Like Limitless said, when you assume everyone knows the facts, it is impossible for your audience to fully comprehend what it is you are saying. He's just saying it to say it to get the views. He's not really explaining it. And I think that to me, like people always say, oh, DG, what you do is really lazy. You know, you're a reactor. You're a reactor. Is this reacting? Or is it more than reacting what I'm doing? Right? And Limitless, God bless you, dude. God bless you. What's up, Leaf? Well, hello to you, Leaf. Good to see you, my friend. Can you shout Leaf out, buddy? Daft. Supermod Daft. Supermod Red. Can you shout out Leaf? He's my friend here. I love Leaf.
Digest this information by subscribing and tuning in to that upcoming video. Now, we'll conclude today's breakdown with the rest of the stream information related to the studio update and artwork. First up, the studio update went into a very interesting discussion about Alpha 2 key sales. Okay. So apparently, because of this server meshing technology, Intrepid can now host many more players and many more servers.
Everybody.
Therefore, the Alpha 2 key sales are coming back. Awesome, however, they're not coming back in the state that we had them before. No more FOMO cosmetics. We think they're just coming back as a key sale on their own at a much lower price. The information is coming soon.
Yeah, they got a lot of criticism for that because if you donated $500 to the project, they would say that you were guaranteed Alpha 2 access or Alpha 1 access. And a lot of people started turning it into being like, oh, well, playing the game costs $500, which is like, it was true, but I don't really think that was like the purpose of it. It was like kind of like what I assumed to be kind of like one of those like intentional misunderstandings where it's like, I'm going to deliberately misunderstand what you're trying to say so that I can get mad at you. I don't think it was a big deal, but it's not a surprise that they're going to get rid of it.
So, yeah, I'll keep you guys informed with that. In addition, as mentioned in the intro, the Alpha 1 key holders are getting into the game soon as this month, apparently, with some NDA tests. Finally, they did leak what the end of this month's livestream topic is. Coming in just 3 weeks, by the way, so not long to wait. And yes, that's right, the Bard.
It doesn't, can I just say this? It doesn't look that appealing to me. Like the character modeling looks very basic. The environments don't look that amazing to me. Like this does not look that amazing to me. No offense, but like when I'm looking at this, this is no big deal for me. Like I'm looking at this and I'm like, this kind of looks like dog shit. You know? Like there's nothing appealing to the eye here.
Is finally being revealed, and Stephen almost dropped the ball about something else Margaret was concerned with, so we're also likely getting the character creator at the end of the month too. Sadly, the artwork update wasn't too interesting. Just a few pieces of armor to go through, including the Helm of the Grove, the Cloak of Ill Omens, and a new armor set featured by the male Pyre model. Pretty.
That looks a lot better close up. Maybe it's just like a camera thing, but or maybe it's the current state that they're in right now. It is an alpha, you know. It could look better. It could look better. I just, man, again, like I don't know enough about it, but currently how I'm seeing it, not that impressive.
Cool stuff. And that's pretty much everything from this month's live.
One Realm is crazy. One Realm is fucking nuts. Like whenever I hear that, I think to myself, there's no fucking way, man.
No, people like this Intrepid, people like Cloud Imperium that are trying to make these things happen are going to revolutionize the gaming industry. They're going to do it. It's going to happen one way or another. It's going to happen. It will happen. And when it does, it will change the whole landscape of gaming. And it's going to be so huge. It's going to bring in so many more people. And any title that doesn't have this tech in some form or fashion, whether it be this grid or whether it actually be the dynamic server mesh that Cloud Imperium's working on. If there are titles out there that don't have the tech that want to be an MMO, they will fall flat on their face without the tech. The other thing is the company that does it the best will get paid fat because they can license out the tech. And they will make billions. Billions of dollars with the tech.
Because, like, it's what I've always wanted, but at the same time, it's like I just don't even want to believe it to be true because of how extreme that type of a promise is. I really want this to happen. Show me the proof. I want to see the game.
See, this is another fact I bring up when I hear things like this. If you're a gamer, you're rooting for this. You want this. You can be skeptical all you want about people trying these types of things, but the demand is there. You know why the demand? You know how I know the demand's there? $700 million spent on Star Citizen. Fan funded $700 million. The demand is there to have these experiences. The demand is ready, waiting with their fucking pocketbooks, and they're going to hand you money. Who's going to do it? Who's going to get it done the way that it should be done? The fact that the work is being done is good news. If you are a gamer, you should be rooting for people who are trying to make this happen. Too many times I see content creators and people in other people's chats, content creators, streamers, where they're like, oh, never going to happen, poo-pooing it. So negative, so hate-filled. And it's like, I just want to be like, they're not a gamer. They're not a gamer. You're not a gamer. You know, because if you're a gamer, you've been waiting for this all your natural life, no matter your age. Whether you're in your 50s, your 40s, your 30s, your 20s, you're in your teens, you have been waiting for this experience your entire lifetime. You want this experience. If you're a gamer, you want it. So you should root for it. But yet I will see people just be like, to the point where it's like, man, you're not a fucking gamer. You're not a gamer.
Hey, I want to play the proof. I don't want to have somebody show it to me. I want to see it. This is a total scam. Well, then don't spend money on it, right?
Boom. Totally. I love Asmongold. He's absolutely right. Everybody wants to call everything a scam so they can be proven right. Everybody wants to be, people that are trying to do this, they're the fucking Lewis and Clarks, man, in the gaming industry. The people that are trying to do this in any form or fashion and legitimately putting their effort in to try and do this, okay? This Intrepid, just learned today they have 300 plus employees. You think that's a fucking scam? You think everybody working, getting paychecks, 300 plus people's a scam? Fucking idiots is what these people are that are calling things like this a scam. You think with 1,000 plus employees that Cloud Imperium has, it's a fucking scam? Sure, they may not be able to do it. That's a whole nother argument. But to call it a scam is completely fucking ignorant and moronic. And I think a lot of kiddos will flock to the whole scam thing because they think it's fun to call it a scam, period. The loudest people usually are like fucking moronic kids, right? You should be applauding the people that are taking the time and out of their lives and their efforts to try and make this happen for the gaming community. I get pissed off at people that are gamers that don't take the time to credit the people that deserve the credit. There's 300 plus employees at Intrepid. There's 1,000 plus employees at Cloud Imperium. These are real people making real paychecks. And to fucking call what they're doing a scam is like a slap in the fucking face. Now, I don't know too much about Ashes of Creation, but I know a lot about Star Citizen, and I've been following it for a long time to know that it's a real fucking business, and there's real people trying to make this thing happen. So to call these things like a scam is a complete slap into the face, not only of the people that are working at Cloud Imperium, but also the fucking gaming industry. Like the actual, you should shame yourself, man. that you're even playing games if you're not rooting for this type of shit. I can't even believe this. I'm getting upset. I can't watch the rest of this.